Today we are reviewing the 2017 GMC Sierra All-Terrain. All right, guys, before we hop into the driving portion of the video, of course, like always, let's talk about the exterior and walk around, and let's just talk about this truck overall. So this is, like I said in the intro, the 2017 GMC Sierra All-Terrain, and as you can tell, it's not a normal All-Terrain because this has a lift kit with custom wheels. So it's got a very, very distinctive look. I'll zoom out so you guys can see a better shot of it overall. Very cleaned up, just got her all clean. She's all ready for this review, and she looks mean. Mean. Yeah, you can tell she's mean. And even from the back end, you could just tell she is a tough looking pickup truck. Now, from the factory, the All-Terrain does come with that bar across the thing with the headlights. Really cool. Really extremely cool feature from the factory. Like I said, this is pretty much stock aside from the lift kit and the custom wheels and just little tiny bits and pieces here and there. But other than that, it's a stock vehicle. You might be asking, okay, so aside from those things, what are some other things that aren't necessarily stock about this? That's a good question, and it's not a lot. We got this blacked out in like a carbon fiber, finish. Really nice looking. That's really nice. These wheels are really nice. Really aggressive. XD series. Really nice. Love the design of these wheels. It fits the truck. Blacked out. Then this was also painted in matte black, though I guess it's kind of faded now since it's a little old, but it still looks good. We're not complaining. I guess you can always repaint that if you needed to. Oh, and then the same thing's done to the Sierra badge, the All-Terrain badge on the back, and then the same carbon fiber outline. Like they blacked it on that carbon fiber accent on the back with the GMC logo as well. So pretty much that is about it. That's all the modding goes. Other than that, this is a pretty stock looking truck just with a little bit of a lift kit and some wheels. I think this car looks 10 million times better with these tiny little mods. It just really brings this truck to life. Makes it look like a man's vehicle, and it's beautiful. But anyway, let's get into the truck. And by the way, if you're wondering why I have the truck running, it's because it's so freaking hot today. I do not feel like doing this review with the truck off. It's so hot. I couldn't do it. But anyway, to get in, you have a key fob with a little key on the end. This is a turn key. There's no push button start, no keyless entry. It's an old school truck. But anyway, you unlock it, and you get in, and you open it up. And you're greeted with a really nice, rugged looking interior that has a little bit of a premium look to it. Now, granted, this is an older interior now, so it's gonna start to look a little dated compared to the newer trucks, but that's not why you buy this used. You buy this used not to get a luxurious truck, but to get a good, rugged, decently nice looking truck. You know what I mean? If you want a nicer, more luxurious truck, you got to buy the newer ones. But you already know this. You're not buying it for that reason. So anyway, to hop on in, even a guy like me at 6'2", I still got to grab the wheel because it's really high up. It's a really high up truck. Anyone shorter than me definitely has to do this. And anyone of my height still has to. It's a big truck. So you grab the wheel and you just hop right on in. Just like so, and you close the door. It's got a relatively solid thunk. It's okay. It's a little jittery. But anyhow, hopping in. I'm gonna make sure none of the air hits you guys this time. It did in the last video, and I'm sorry about that. But all right. This is gonna take me 2 seconds. There's not much to talk about here on this interior because if you sat in any GM product from the 2010s, this will look familiar to you, and you will not need me, of all people, to tell you what this interior is like. You got this tiny little gauge, but if you spend more money for the Denali trims on these particular generation of trucks, it can cover this entire thing, except for these gauges. These gauges were always the same and stayed the same. But if you didn't spend that extra money and you got an all-terrain without that technology package, you just got this tiny little screen and these analog gauges, which I think look great. Surprisingly, I'm not always an analog gauge fan. These somehow work for me. I'm okay with it. They're not ugly. Moving on to the steering wheel, these are all your controls to control your screen. You can go right, reduce the speed sign. You can go through your audio, your phone, your navigation, options. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with this truck. You can scroll through your menus, your fuel range, oil life, tire pressure, fuel economy, transmission fluid, off-road, and speed. And trip, of course. Trip A, trip B. You got 2 of them. And as you can see, this doesn't get great fuel economy. You got 13. 13. Yeah, no, it's not great. But anyhow, it's literally, that's all there is to that. That's as simple as the technology gets. Then you have your cruise control right here. You turn it on right with this button, turn it on, turn it off, and then you can set it with that button once you get going fast enough, and then you can increase the speed or decrease the speed with these 2 buttons. This, I don't know if this was a button from the factory. Comment below and let me know if this was supposed to be something else, but this car just didn't have that option maybe. I don't know, but for some reason it's a dead button. I think it's just to either match this button, or this was supposed to be something, but this particular truck was an option to have it. And then obviously, to cancel cruise, you can just hit that button as well, and it'll cancel cruise as well. Now, over here, you have the turn signal. Very cheap and plasticky, but again, typical GM quality. They cheap out in the parts that they don't think you need, but this is a pretty important spot, so it's kind of a zonk. It's not the greatest thing for them to cheap out on this thing, but it works. Makes typical turn signal noises from this era of GM products. Now they've updated since then, and it's, you know, even more luxurious sounding. Anyway, so let's move on. Then you move on to this optional, and it is an optional because if you don't get this, they give you an even smaller screen, which would look even worse. But here's your optional, top of the line, biggest screen you could get back in the day, the 8-inch infotainment system, the I think it's the intelligent screen. You're gonna comment below, let me know the name. I don't really remember off the thing. I think, oh wait, no, I remember. This is the IntelliLink system, the old IntelliLink system. Jeez. Anyway, but for here, you plug in that projection thing. When you plug in, we'll turn in the CarPlay. You click it, it'll turn the CarPlay, and you'll get CarPlay. I'm not going to walk you through. You guys seen plenty of reviews talking about CarPlay. You know what CarPlay is. You got your audio. I mean, you got your audio, and you got all your channels, your options. You can see your Bluetooth stuff. I mean, you can, let's see. If you want to change the sound and adjust, go to menu, press menu, go to tone setting, and you can adjust the range, the bass, the mid-range, the treble, all of it. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. So, and if you want to go back to home, you hit home, the home button. That's an easy little, home button. You know where it's at. It's kind of like touching the old iPhone home buttons. It's simple. You can see your traffic if you wanted. Obviously, this is an old interior, so I don't know if this thing even works anymore, because I'm sure the newer trucks have it working because they're up to date with modern day technology and traffic. But I don't think this works anymore. I think they stopped working this system a while ago just because it's older tech. But back in the day, you could have saw traffic on here and could have predicted where to go and how to get to your job as quickly as possible. But it was still a nice thing that they had. You have text, you have settings, you have OnStar, which is a great system, probably one of the best systems if you ever get into a car accident or if you ever get stranded or stuck in the middle of nowhere and you need help. That's probably one of the best things to have. But you got to pay a membership for it, obviously. You got My GMC. And then you got these really cool things, which I thought was really cool for the times. You had the New York Times, so you can go through articles and stuff. Fox Sport, iHeartRadio, People. All these cool little, entertainment places. I think that's a really cool little touch. It's not like you need it, but it's just a nice thing to even try to integrate into the system. Overall, it's an okay system. It's a little laggy at times. It's not always the fastest or the sharpest or the best graphics, but this was when they were getting better at technology. This was when they were still getting good at it, because before all this, they didn't have touchscreens. They didn't have interior luxury touchscreens that were nice. This was the beginning of a good touchscreen. Obviously, it's been better since, but it's still good for what it is. Anyhow, you move on to the climate controls. You got 70, and it's dual climate controls, and you can sync them both. You can adjust it and sync it. You got your fan speed right here. You have your defrosters for your windshield and your rear window. the AC button to turn it on and off, recirculate the air button. You can push these buttons to tell the AC unit where you want to direct the air at. And then down here at the bottom, you can adjust the pedals and the brakes. You can turn off traction control. You can turn on the bed light with this button, and you can turn on and off the parking sensors. And you got hill descent control. And I like the way these buttons look and the way you feel, like the way they feel. They're not high quality buttons, but I just like that you press down on it like it's like airplane buttons. It's a nice little bit of like pizzazz. I like that little quirkiness to it. And now, no cool seats, but you do get heated seats. So that's nice. You get heated seats, but not much more than that. Overall, this interior is typical. I mean, the Chevy Silverado had this interior. The Sierra had this interior. Like I said, it's a great interior. It's a nice looking interior. You got this fake leather stitching going across the dash with this like molded injected plastic that is kind of soft. It's kind of firm, but even though it's not leather, I like that it gives you the illusion of it looking like leather, and I think that adds to the class, because the Silverado didn't let you have this. It was just hard plastic. This is like at least nice to touch to an extent. Overall, this interior is nice. I like it. The red stitching, the technology, while it not being the best, it's still good enough considering what you're getting for high 20s, low 30s in a pickup truck. And you also still get leather. These seats are nice. I mean, it's like this pleather-like leather interior. So these are easy to clean and keep in good shape. And it's still relatively soft and nice. And you got this like, I don't know, like this quirky, like swimsuit-like material. I guess you can get that wet and dirty and easily clean it off, because you also have it right here on the door panel. That same material is right here. And then it is hard touch right here, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I do think that's a little bit of a zonk in my eye. But I'm sure some of you work guys would probably appreciate this hard surface, just because you can lay your dirty shit right here, your dirty arms, and not give a shit. And you could just wipe it off with a little bit of Windex. Like, who cares? Windex or some sort of like interior car cleaner. Obviously, you got controls for the lights. The fog lights are right here. You got your, I mean, this is, you know, auto 4-wheel drive type car. So it has 2-wheel drive, auto, 4-wheel drive, 4 low. You can control all that. And then you have your trailer brake control, and this helps you tow. And you can adjust how you want it to be. Overall, this car does exactly what you need it to do. It does the truck stuff the way you want to do the trucks. It's a really great interior. Can't complain at all. But why don't we, and when I mean we, I mean you and me, hop in the back seat and see what it's like in the back. All right, guys, so to get in the back, obviously you open up the door, common sense. And then, again, it doesn't matter if you're my height or shorter. To get in this truck, you definitely want to use this grab handle. Very useful. Maybe if it was normal height, you wouldn't have to worry about it. But in this truck, you do. So, you grab it and then take a nice big step and you just pull yourself on in. And then just close the door as such. So now that we're in the back seat, how does it feel to be in the back? This back seat is humongous. I can attest to this. You have all this legroom right here. And I'm 6'2". That's the beauty. And this is like a reasonable place that someone would sit. It's not like this is like scooted up forward or what. Like, this is scooted pretty far back, and I still got all this room. The one and only zonk about this car in terms of the back seat, and this is the problem that everyone who's rode in the back has had, and including even my parents who have ridden a few times in the back of this truck before, it sucks that there is no ACs. It's a huge zonk that GMC really thought that there was no need to have AC in the back of a pickup truck. That is mind-blowing to me. I think that's one of my biggest complaints. I mean, there's another complaint I can make, but we'll talk about that in the driving impression. But that's my biggest complaint as of right now. How can you have such a great, roomy, spacious back seat and not have AC? I just can't believe that. But you get LED lights. Very nice. And You get an arm, you get a little grab handle in case, you know, you're off-road in the terrain, whatever it may be, and you have a little coat hook. So all those businessmen can throw their coat hooks in the back. They really thought everything through. Except the AC units. That shit pisses me off. But anyhow, moving on. You got cup holders with a nice little armrest to work with it. Really nice. You got 2 cup holders, and I hate saying it, but that's pretty much it. It's as basic as it comes, right? You throw it back up. You do get a little pocket so you can put books, your iPad, phones, coloring books, whatever you got going on in the back. Doesn't matter if you have kids or grown-ups. You can fit your stuff right in the back. You got this little cubby right here in the center. It's a very tiny cubby. Maybe you could put like, oh, I don't know, maybe like a very thin bag of Skittles. I don't know what honestly, I don't know what you could put there. I'm taking a weird, educated guess, but it's nice. And you got more storage underneath it. That you could probably put like chargers and a towel, really whatever you want to put in there. It's that one's a little more spacious storage. It's like a 2 double shelf thing. One's more useful than the other. Now here's my biggest zonk, and I'll show you. And I think I am correct. This is another problem I have with this car. It only comes with a cigarette lighter, which I guess is okay. It means you can still charge your stuff. But the fact that it doesn't have USB, that's, come on. 2017, this is not a 2010. Come on, we're in the modern day and age. That is a zonk, but it doesn't matter. Thankfully, in the front, as you probably saw, because I forgot to mention, there is 2 whole ass power outlets. There's a power outlet, and then there's 2 USB outlets with 2 more cigarette outlets. So you do got enough charging capabilities. I just wish they would have given you at least 1 USB in the back. That would have been nice. But if I had to pick that or the AC, come on, give me the AC. That's clearly the more important problem here than what I'm talking about. The other thing is a gripe, but oh well. Anyhow, now that you got an idea of what the back seat is like, what the front seat was like, let's quickly, before we go on the drive, let's go over some numbers. This has the 5.3 liter V8, makes 350 horsepower, 350 pound-feet of torque. It's a very standard engine. They've been using it for probably 20 years now, if I'm not mistaken. 20 to 25 years. It's a really old engine. They still use it to this day. If you get a 2022 or 2023, that's still an option. The 5.3 liter V8. It's an extremely old engine. But there's a reason why they still have it, and the reason they still use it, and the reason why it's still around. It is dead set reliable. The car will fall apart before the engine will. It's a really reliable, great engine. Probably one of the best V8s you can buy in terms of reliability. In terms of power, it's not the greatest. It's a meh engine, but it's reliable. And that's, to a lot of people, to the mass majority, that's all that really matters. Obviously, 0 to 60, I ain't going to quote you on that, because with that slow engine plus the 6-inch lift kit with the big wheels, you can imagine how slow that is. But you don't care about it. One more thing I did forget to mention. You do have a sunroof, as you can see right there. That's another thing I totally forgot to mention to you. But now you know. So let's go ahead, let's get back behind the wheel, and I'll tell you guys what this car is like to get behind the wheel. Alright, so now that you guys have gotten the thorough walk around and tour of the interior and the exterior of the car, and heard some things about this car, let's talk about the driving aspect of the car, the sitting behind the wheel and actually moving down the road. So let me just start by addressing the elephant in the room. If you guys have been with me since the beginning of time, and I'm sure most of you have not, because this channel has been popping off only as of recently, then you will have known that this is a car I reviewed 3 years ago. I think 3 to 4 years ago. Really old video, one of my first videos ever made. It was my first ever car review. And you can tell it was my first ever car review because I didn't really have a definite format. I didn't really have my talking ability down yet. I just had car knowledge. That's all I really had. But I've obviously perfected that, and it's gotten better. And now here we are. And I decided since it's been 3 to 4 years to re-review this car because you know, update you guys on it. And also, it's been so long that I don't even know if I want to count that review. No one saw that review. It only got 50-something views. I mean, this was like in the very beginning of my channel. So I figured, well, since none of y'all really technically saw it or went that far back on my page, and because it's kind of a dated video now, looking back at it, and because y'all love the consistent content, I decided, screw it. I'm just going to re-review it and just make it a fresher, more better video in the same format I've been filming all of my newer stuff, because I did not film it in this same type of format. It was in a very weird, different, not as great format, but I didn't have it down. This is the new format that's here to stay, and I didn't figure it out till recently. So with that being said, let's re-review this car. So this is my dad's car. This is a 2017 GMC Sierra All-Terrain. We've had this car since 2018. So we've had this car for actually kind of a while now. Believe it or not, it's longer, like surprisingly a long time. And I still think about this car the same way I thought about it in the old review, but I'm just gonna put it to you bluntly. This car is awesome. It's a big pickup truck. It's a GMC Sierra All-Terrain, but unlike a regular Sierra All-Terrain, we bought this with a 6-inch lift kit on it out of the dealership. So how does it feel to drive? And honestly, I'm not going to take forever with this part of the review, mostly because this is not like an insane handling sports car. There's not a lot of crazy stuff going on. This is a very simple truck, and now they're used because, you know, 2017. And this one has 102,264 miles as I'm reviewing right now. And so we put miles on it, and we bought this car with 11,000 miles. So we've had it for a while. We've put a lot of miles on it, and it's done really well. The 5.3 liter V8, it's reliable. It makes the same amount of power my Suburban makes. I already told you the analytics. I'm not going to go into that, but all you need to know is that it's reliable. Maybe more reliable than the transmission. The tech looks a little dated, but it doesn't matter because you hook up your phone, you have Apple CarPlay, just ignore the tech. Ignore the tech. Because at least it has Apple CarPlay. So as long as you have an Apple CarPlay integrate, like type of system in it, like an Apple CarPlay system in general, or Android Auto, you can ignore the technology being crap. Because as long as you always leave Apple CarPlay on your screen, it looks up to date. This is like a really great truck to get. And the best part is, these trucks, I mean, they're going for like 30s now. 30s, high 20s something $1,000 if you can get lucky. You know, high 20s, low $30,000. That's a steal for one of these. These used to be, I mean, we got this for I think like 48 to 50. So that's a pretty good deal. And these used to be 50 something, brand new. So this is a really good deal. And trucks, in this day and age, trucks are just getting more and more expensive. They're more and more sought after. They're more sought after every single year. And newer trucks are getting more and more expensive. You can get a Duramax, one of these, brand new, $2,500. Ultimate, top of the line Denali for $100,000. 6 figures for a truck. So with that in mind, this is a really great bargain. This truck has been lasting us for years now, so it's a good truck. Obviously it's GM quality, so if you're one of those that are really picky about your quality of cars, maybe you shouldn't go for it, only because the interior will age, and the more it ages, the more cheap it'll look with time, and the more things start to creak and rattle. But if you're not that type of guy and you don't give a shit, you just want a good vehicle, and you don't care about the little creaks and rattles that might come up here and there, this is an amazing truck, and that's all I gotta say. Thank you guys so much for watching this video on my on this 2017 GMC Sierra All-Terrain. I mean, guys, this truck is so cool, as you can see from the thumbnail and the walk around. This is cool. If you can find one that looks like this, snag it up. Just know what you're walking into, and just be ready to have to pay that price if something does happen. Not all of them are created equal. Some of them are better than others, but just be wary. If you like this video, please comment, share, like, and subscribe. we're going up. We're almost at 200 subscribers as we speak. Let's keep running up these numbers. It might already be at 200 by the time this video goes up. I really don't know. This channel's constantly growing every day. But if it's not there, keep racking it up to 200, past the 200. Our goal is to get 1,000 subscribers this year, if all possible. Now, if I can only get 500 this year at the end of the day, well, hey, that's better than nothing. I'll take that. I'll be appreciative of any support you guys can give me. 500, 600, 700 subscribers, doesn't matter. My goal is 1,000, so let's get it to 1,000 if possible. But if not, just help me out in any way you guys can. That would mean the whole world to me. But like I said, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in another video. Peace out, guys.